everybody, and welcome to Mary Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour.
Nah, I'm looking my best just for this show. Even got a haircut.
Yeah, looks good.
Oh, it does.
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah.
It was actually a fixed haircut.
Oh wow.
Oh, here's some rules of advice. Never let your girlfriend cut your hair. She's practicing on Barbie dolls all her, and then she says, "Oh, I could cut your hair," and then
Right,
and then you have to go to a real barber and
right.
fix it.
Yeah,
And let me tell you, barbers are a lot like mechanics
yeah,
or
yeah,
dentists.
yeah,
They they if you're new to them, they always
yeah.
say, "Who was the last person who checked on this?"
Right, right, right.
boy, boy, did they screw it up.
Yeah.
Like did in fact, my barber said, "Who was the last person to cut your hair? Ray Charles?" I didn't know Stevie Wonder still cut hair. So anyway, listen to this. So I go to a place, very popular place. I'm not going to tell you the name of the place, but they do a lot of great clipping there. Had a coupon. So anyway, so they said you haven't been here in like almost a year. I said, what?
Wow.
I'm sure it was here like a few months ago at
Wow.
least. And they said, no, you haven't been here in probably close to a year, like 11 months. I said,
Wow.
what?
What?
So I'm always getting my haircut.
Yeah, I know.
I'm one of the people who actually gets haircuts. A lot of
Yeah.
people get haircuts. They don't look like they get haircuts.
Yeah. It's not worth the money.
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield said
Yeah.
if you want a haircut that doesn't look like you got a haircut, go
Right.
go to a barber that doesn't look like a barber.
Right. Exactly.
So anyway, so they said, yeah, it's right here, and they actually, they asked for your phone
Right.
number and everything, so they have it all in their database,
Right.
and they looked at it and they said, um, the way you like your hair when you had it done 11 months ago
Mm.
was a little off the side, keep it mainly on
Right.
top, swirl it around to make it look like you have, give it some
Right.
elevate. I
Right.
said, wait a minute, and we used the number 5 clipper on you, and you
Yes.
had no sideburns.
Yeah.
I mean, you had sideburns.
Yeah.
So how do you know all of this? And they said, well, that's they put it in your notes. I said, you have notes
Yeah.
about the last time I got a haircut and how I got it,
Right.
and is that what I want? I'm a typical man. I
Yeah.
just want the same haircut over and over
Right.
again,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
and it grows out like a girl, as
Yeah.
my dad would say.
I've been
And
cutting mine at home, so
we've been
it's,
cutting. Well, a lot
yeah.
of people have been cutting it at home
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
the quarantine of
Yeah.
last year.
I kind of like doing it at home,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, the one thing good about doing it at home is that you don't have to tip yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And the other thing
I
is,
mean, I know the
who's going to come see you? I
Yeah.
mean, you wear a haircut for other people to enjoy.
Yeah. I know, like my friends and you
Yeah,
and all that
yeah.
good stuff.
Well, the
So
television.
yeah,
I've
television.
never not been a public figure even during the pandemic. I still
Right.
do these shows and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, I made a joke once that I never wear the same outfit twice. I try not to wear the same tie twice. Actually, I wore this tie once before on,
Mm.
I think, the Vinnie Mac show.
Yeah.
Beautiful tie. Do you like
Yeah.
it? Thank you.
That's
She actually
beautiful.
bought me this tie
Yeah.
for
I
Christmas,
bought
so
that for him for Christmas.
yes.
Yeah. I think
And
it looked
and
good on him.
and
So
I remember what I got you
yeah.
for Christmas, a thank you note. It was very
Yeah.
nice. One of the last the big spenders. That's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you for the tie. So I want to look my best. This is the first show I think I've done with you with this tie. So
Oh
because you
yeah.
bought it for me,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I always try to wear the clothes people buy for me when I
Right.
see them, at their birthday parties or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I got a haircut and I got a tie
Right.
and then I was snowed in.
Oh yes.
No one could see anything.
So was I. So yeah.
But today is a good day. You
Yes,
might
it
see
is.
snow on the ground here,
Yeah. I mean, you might
but
see
it's
snow on the ground, but it's sunny outside.
it's
It's
sunny.
melting some of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it's good to be doing the show again. We're on our way to rehearsal to do Little Shop of Horrors,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we're in that show.
Yes.
I
Yes.
I play the plant.
Yeah.
No, no, somebody said what you play plays the fertilizer for the plant. More likely. Now, the man-eating plant. Now, what else? Oh, and then there's a show coming up in a Beatles. I don't know the
Yes.
name of it.
I'm definitely going to audition for that
Yeah,
because
there's
I'm a big fan of the Beatles. So
you must be that fan of the Beatles that I always hear
yeah.
about. No,
Yeah.
the Beatles. This new show. I think it's a new show, or rather recent show. It's like Mamma Mia, meaning all the cast sings
Yes.
Beatles songs, but it's
Yes.
not a
Yeah.
review so much
Yeah.
as it's part of the plot.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like
I really would
that
audition for
woman
that
Eleanor
so
Rigby is
bad.
getting on my nerves, and Eleanor Rigby,
Yeah.
and then they go on from there, and then they all sing this. I
Yeah.
don't know how to. I don't
Right.
know anything about the show. I just
Right.
know there's a lot of Beatles
Yeah.
songs in it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we just love the Beatles.
Well, yeah,
So
me
if you don't
too.
like, come for the Beatles songs and stay for the play.
I pretty much know these songs because I have a bunch of Beatles albums at home.
Yeah.
So
Well, Beatles albums, there's not really a whole lot of them.
right.
And then if you buy the greatest hits, you pretty much have. In fact, all the songs by the Beatles are greatest hits
Yeah.
when you
I
think
mean,
about
I have Abbey Road,
it.
Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Hmm.
I also got the Beatles from 1962 to 66, I think. And the
Yeah.
other
Well, that's the
one,
greatest hits album.
yeah, and the
Yeah,
other
that's a good
one is
one.
called from 1967 to 1971.
Yeah. I like.
I have both of those, and I love all the albums that I have by the
Oh
Beatles.
yeah. Well, they are. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have Beatles albums. Let's see. Pretty much all of them. But I
yeah,
gotta tell you what I have, and I have them all at accessible. But the first Beatles albums I bought, actually, you're right, were the 62, 66, 66, 70, which basically has everything if you
yeah,
know anything a little bit about the Beatles, has everything you want to hear.
yeah.
And then if you're a completist, you have
Yeah,
all those other albums, Revolver and
yeah. I have that one too.
yeah,
That's a really good
Rubber
album.
Soul.
You know, I have that one. I have Rubber Soul, Revolver, and some other ones.
And if you almost had to buy them, I think I
Right.
mentioned this once before. You had to buy these albums new because you got them at thrift stores or at yard sales. They were all scratched up because people
Yeah.
never stop playing them.
Yeah.
You wonder
Yeah.
why. I think they're only selling them at a thrift store
Yeah. Yeah.
or a yard sale because they say,
Yeah.
okay, I played it up. I can't play it anymore.
Well, most of my Beatles albums that I got are mostly from a record dealer that I got with
Yeah.
a couple years ago. It was actually not too long ago, but it was like about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yes.
There was a record dealer that I ran into on Facebook, and he had like a lot of albums that were like in his shop and all that. And then he gave me a pretty good deal on on some of the albums that I bought.
Yeah.
And then he shipped it to me, and
Oh wow. Oh, you bought them through the mail. Wow.
yeah. So it was
These are LPs
yeah. I mean, they're
from
used.
the day.
Yeah, they're used, but they were in really good shape
Oh
too.
yeah. Well, usually dealers don't
Yeah.
want to sell. See, if your dealer sells lousy
Right.
product, then no one
Right.
will go to him again.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. He sent me a bum steer on that
Yeah.
on that
Right.
on that Let It Be album.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't have that one yet, but I like to have it
Yeah.
to Let It Be album.
Let It Be.
So,
You can see
but
the TV show
yeah.
and hear it for free.
Yeah.
It's like 6 hours or something.
Yeah.
Beatles documentaries.
Yeah.
And the Beatles are back with the
Yeah.
documentary.
I also have the
Yeah.
Hard Day's Night too.
Oh yeah,
I think it's one of their first albums they ever came out with.
yeah.
So.
Now, uh have you seen like documentaries on stuff lately? There's
Yes,
the
I
Beatles. There's
have.
the Get Back. I think it's on Showtime or one of those
Yeah,
things. Yeah,
I've seen a.
Hulu. I think.
Yeah, there was one documentary on PBS that came on the other night that I
Yeah.
watched. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched parts of it, like
Hmm.
when it was getting ready to be over. It was
Hmm.
called Documentary of WBCN Radio.
Radio.
Yes,
Now, WBCN Radio is where was that based?
it was based in Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston, and they play top 40 junk or
Yeah, they played music, but
yeah.
they also talked about politics.
No, yeah.
They had these like guest people, like famous celebrities like Jane Fonda and Patti Smith
The
and
singer?
some the singer Patti
Okay, Patti
Smith.
Smith, yeah.
I mean, she was
And she
around.
talked about politics?
Well, she was performing in the
Yeah.
station,
Oh,
but
there was live performances by
yeah,
music people in the state.
the people that were being interviewed were talking about her,
Yeah.
like saying that she like told she was talking about Jesus or something, like Jesus,
In a good way?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, obviously.
yeah, but
Yeah.
and then she did a little bit of a cuss word,
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, It was. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't really, but
She said heck. She told them to go to heck.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good documentary. I
Yeah.
encourage you all to check it
It's
out.
on PBS. And
Yeah,
let me tell you something about
you can
PBS.
also watch it on YouTube, so
You can find
as
it on
well.
YouTube. A lot of times, go to YouTube first, and then where you might see this show,
Yes,
and then on most of these YouTube stations.
yes,
And then what happens is PBS has a PBS.com, and you could actually if it's let me tell you about PBS.com. It's kind of weird. You can
yes.
see all these wonderful documentaries,
Right.
including that one,
Uh-huh.
or I hope you could see that one.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
every time, it goes off or something, the documentaries go off, they sell a DVD.
That's right.
Yeah,
You notice at the end of every show, like the Ken Burns things or something,
yeah,
they always say, "And if you want a DVD of this,
yeah,
spend $75." $75? I just saw it for free, and you want me to buy some?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then you realize that that's how they make sort of their money back
Right.
on it, because they show it for for you to
Uh-huh.
see for free,
Right, right.
no commercials,
Uh-huh.
anything. And then usually that week they show it a couple of times in the middle of the night or
Mhm.
during school time or something.
Right, right.
And then you could go to pbs.com and find it. But then
Yeah.
after maybe a week or two, you can't find it at all.
Yeah, I'd rather just
So
watch it on TV.
so then what happens is uh,
Yeah,
P, uh, what is really weird. They will show like
yeah,
during like Christmas season or something, or when they just have to put stuff out there.
yeah,
They show
yeah.
all these old documentaries, and I say, and you'll watch something like like a Ken Burns thing, and then you say, oh, I got to see that on PBS.com. I missed it the last night, or missed the first half of it, and then you go there and says, no, no, you have to buy the DVD.
Yeah, they also have a really good documentary of. There's a couple of them that I
Yeah.
watched. There was a series called American Masters.
Oh, American Masters is very good.
They talked about Janis Joplin
Yeah.
and Sammy Davis Jr. and
Yeah, that's
all
been
this
going
other
on
stuff.
for like 20 years.
Oh
They
yeah,
take a
that's
famous
my favorite. One of my favorites.
playwright or famous artist or something
Yeah.
and do a whole.
Right.
The documentary I think was already done or was in the planning
Yeah.
stages, and
Yeah.
then American Masters probably pays to have it finished or something,
Right.
and then they certainly publicize it.
Right.
And a
Yeah.
lot of the best, a lot of the best documentaries about that you can see, you can get them in the library. A lot of these on DVD. Usually the
Right.
library buys the DVD and puts it onto the Ken Burns stuff and everything.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so the, so you saw so what other documentaries did you see?
I saw one called about WLEE radio.
WLE Radio. Yes,
Yeah.
in fact, a friend of mine made that DVD.
Yes.
Made that I don't think it's a DVD.
I know someone that was interviewed in that
Yeah,
documentary actually.
yeah,
So
yeah. What was her name?
Donna Deacon.
Donna Deacons.
Yeah.
Was she a radio DJ or something?
No, she was actually she was a snow queen for Miller and Rhodes, the original snow queen, many years ago.
And what did she have to do with WLE?
I think she had worked, got involved in it,
Okay.
worked in it or something like
Yeah,
that.
let me tell you
So
something. That was my favorite radio station growing up. It
yeah,
was the radio station.
right,
And it shows the whole trajectory, how it started in the 1950s,
right,
sponsors it had,
yeah.
and then
Dick
how
Clark was on the WLEE as well.
Dick Clark.
Yeah, he wasn't actually on the
Yeah,
radio station, but
yeah.
they recorded, him
Oh, his
doing,
show.
yeah, he had a show on.
Oh, like a 2-hour show, and they'd run it once a week.
Yeah,
Yeah, a
yeah,
lot of radio stations did that. They
yeah,
did like American Top 40 shows like
right,
that with
yeah.
Casey Kasem and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I used to
That was like a
love
four
Casey
hour. That was
Kasem
like
when
a
I was a
4-hour
kid.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love Casey Kasem when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like he would come on like every Sunday.
Yeah. Well, you know what I remember about the Casey Kasem radio show? They would play, there was, I think, a half-hour thing for television,
Right.
but they only showed like snippets of the songs and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and they're basically showing videos at that point.
Right.
But when it was on radio, they would play the whole song.
Oh wow.
So you had to sit through, and they go from 40 to the number
Yes.
one, and that
Yeah.
would be, and everyone was anticipating the last one.
Yeah.
And he'd give a little speech and give little dedications
Yeah.
and
Oh
all
yeah.
that
I
stuff.
love the dedication stuff.
Yeah. Well, what a lot of people don't realize about those dedications, and certainly, okay, I used to be in radio. I used to be a DJ
Ireland.
in Ireland, country music
Country
DJ,
music
and it
DJ.
was
Yes.
an illegal station. It was a pirate radio station. Basically, all stations in Europe are
Right.
that way.
Yeah.
They're on a boat or they're in the middle of town on a
Yeah.
gypsy
Uh,
antenna that's going around town
yeah.
on the back of a cab or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And so I was on an illegal station, and what a lot of people don't realize when in America, it says we don't really have that in a big
Mhm.
wheel, big reason why in America, but in other countries you have a national radio station,
Yes.
or you at least used to, and then all the others were okay. I'll give you an example how national radio does not work. Okay, you have a pizza parlor
Mhm.
and you want to advertise on it.
Right.
Well, they expect you to advertise at the highest level, meaning
Oh
the
yeah.
national radio, meaning that if
Right.
everyone in the country, everyone, are not going to come to your pizza parlor. Now, if you
Mhm.
advertise in town
Uh-huh.
at the local radio station,
Right. Right.
that people will come to your
Yes.
pizza parlor. But
Exactly.
that's where the illegal radio stations. So, in other words, the
Right.
illegal radio stations in Europe are done the same way, like the typical local radio stations are done in America.
Right.
So when you heard that, and here's a tribute to Radio Luxembourg from our, and these are our friends in London, and here's our friends in Radio Paris and all this stuff. All those were illegal radio stations that Casey
Yeah.
Kasem announced.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
I
didn't
was.
say, this is the B. We want to say hi to everyone at the
Yes.
BBC, because that's a
Yes.
national
Right.
radio station
Uh-huh.
in England.
Yeah.
And trouble is when you have to remember when you have national radio is that you have to. It's really funny. Um, they try to put a little. They have like a country music hour. They have
Uh-huh.
like a classical music hour.
Yes.
They have a
Yes.
pop top 40 hour
Yes.
or whatever
Yes.
local. And what happens is when a radio station tries to please everybody, guess
Uh-huh.
who it winds up pleasing?
Casey Kasem.
It winds up pleasing nobody. Because
Right.
now they're playing the classical music. I don't want to hear that. Oh, now they're
Yeah.
playing that
Well.
that punk rock music. I don't want to hear that. Oh, country music, can't stand it.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
While in the stations, the local stations in where I was in Ireland
Yeah.
were only country music or
Right.
only rock and roll music
Right.
or
Right.
only they didn't have any. I don't remember any news radio there. But now all radio is news radio. I hate radio now. I never
Yeah.
listen to radio. People ask me if I
Yeah.
listen to any
Yeah.
radio, and I said
Yeah.
my radio is covered in spit.
Yeah. I
I
know.
hate it so much
Yeah. I
because
mean.
there's no DJs anymore.
Yeah. I
No.
know.
But anyway, that WLEE documentary. Tell me
Yeah.
more about it.
Well, the reason why that went off the air,
Yeah.
which went off the air, during the mid 1980s, I think,
Hmm.
because they didn't show music anymore at the time, so they just showed like talking and news and all that
Hmm.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's why it flopped back in the mid 80s.
They
So
all they all radio is a
yeah,
shell of itself.
right.
They don't, like I said, they don't have DJs anymore. They don't even play records anymore or play music,
I
local
know.
music.
I know.
They get it all from New York, piped
Yes.
in.
Yes.
I mean, and
Yes.
then I think pretty much the internet has supplanted
Right.
and burning of MP3s
Right.
and
Yeah.
your own
Exactly.
CDs,
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
now people would rather just listen to what they want to listen to. I
Yeah.
mean,
I
you would
mean.
wait forever, starting probably like you said, 1980s and 90s. You
Yeah.
probably could wait forever for a good song that you would like appear on the radio.
Uh huh.
You might even listen to an oldie station, and even if you listen to
Right.
an oldie station and heard music you would
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you have to go through maybe 10 minutes of commercials sometimes. So
Yeah.
now it's all talking. And
Yeah.
what's weird was in those days all music was AM.
Yeah. Yeah.
FM only really came into play in
Yeah.
the 70s. FM was better as far as sounding. You could hear it in stereo and
WLEE was a AM
AM
station one
station. I
time. Yes.
remember the guy who owned it was a guy I knew, very nice guy,
Right.
Harvey Hudson.
Oh,
He
okay.
started it in the
Yeah.
1950s, became
Oh.
the most popular station in Richmond, and then what was weird was his the fan base of WLE got older too.
Yeah.
So then they wanted to hear like old timey music,
Right.
like Tony
Yes.
Bennett and
Yes.
stuff like that, and
Oh.
Mitch Miller and
Oh, okay.
stuff we talk about all the
They
time.
had a radio station one time years ago on the AM radio.
Yeah, and
I didn't usually listen to AM radio, but I kind of like tried it out when I was younger, and they played the station called Unforgettable 1380.
yeah,
and they played like these like songs from the 1940s.
Yeah, well, that was it. The music of your life, they called it.
Yes, music of your
And
life.
that's when I tried to get on WLE because I had an
Oh
affinity for
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But the station manager didn't hire me. I don't think he thought I was old
Right,
enough or
right.
good enough probably. I don't know why he didn't hire me. But then years later I met him
Yes.
again
Oh, yeah.
and I never told him. He said that he was watching me on the Gorgeous George show and he said that he thought it was the funniest thing he ever saw.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, recounting things we said and things. And I
Right.
said, well, thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Yeah.
I knew this guy. I actually was in his office being
Oh,
interviewed by him,
wow.
and he didn't know who I was. Long before I was on television and on the internet.
Yeah.
He and he didn't hire me. I didn't tell him that,
Oh, wow.
but he should. But he should have hired me
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
don't think I was any less funny then or
Exactly.
less entertaining then.
Yeah, let me give you a whole list of radio stations that I listened to when I was
Okay.
growing up.
All right.
I listened to Q94.
Okay. For a lot of these people who don't know Richmond, what did Q94 play?
They played like contemporary rock and roll,
Okay.
#1 hits and all
Okay.
that stuff.
And what else did you listen to?
B103.7.
What did they play?
They played like pretty much the same music, except it was like soft rock,
Yeah.
like a more softer
Yeah.
rock than
Yeah.
Q94 did.
Yeah, soft
So
rock.
yeah,
And now the Air Supply Hour. Actually,
yeah.
it's the Air Supply every day.
Even my grandfather listened to B103.7 back in the
Listen, if your
day.
grandfather's listening to the same radio station you are, get a different radio station.
Well, I
you
mean,
have to be you have to be different.
you know me. I love all kinds of music.
Well, I did too.
I've always did.
I did too. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
I've been around my grandparents.
Now, what other stations you listen to?
I listened to Duck 96.5.
What did they play?
They played oldies like from
Now,
the
what's
50s.
oldies like from last week?
No.
Some people tell you. So I talk to young people all the time. I'm hip with the young people, and they'll tell me, oh, I listen to a lot of old music. I said, what old music you listen to? Oh, Coldplay, the Nirvana.
Well,
I listen to, I said, listen to the early stuff by Taylor Swift and Justin Timberlake.
yeah.
So, oh, you listen? Oh, those, yeah, real oldie stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm thinking of like Chuck Berry.
yeah. Yeah, they played Chuck Berry on that
Oh,
station.
okay.
So,
All
yeah.
right. Well, actually, it got to the point with my record collection and my CD collection and my
Also,
tape collection. Okay.
I also used to listen to Magic 99.
Okay. What did they
And they
play?
played R&B and soul.
Okay.
So I grew up on that as well. My
Okay.
mom
Mhm.
used to tape all the songs from Magic 99.
Yeah.
And because she was the kind of person that liked, R&B music, and so did I.
Mhm.
I mean, I loved all kinds of music. So
You gotta learn to like stuff
yes,
if you're gonna hear it all
yes,
the time.
yeah,
I found out that if you in the day
right,
when you had a radio in your office, people would fight over what station to listen to
yeah,
because if you liked the particular station, half the people didn't like that station.
yeah,
Or if they played something you didn't like it.
right,
So it got to the point where the boss just said, "Okay, I've made a decision. There's going to be no radio here,
yeah,
and you'll do something kind of weird in this office. You're going to work."
yeah. There was I didn't really remember this particular station, but
Yeah.
when I lived in Chester on Jeff Davis Highway, there was a little building. There used to be a WDYL station.
And what did they play? Do it
I
yourself
think they played
music.
gospel. They played gospel.
Oh, I
I
remember
think
that
it was.
station. Yeah, I remember that station.
On Jeff Davis Highway, you'll see it. It used to be that station, but now it's like a car dealership now.
I almost worked at that station.
Oh, you did?
A
For
gospel
real?
station.
For
Well,
real?
let me tell you something about DJs and
Uh-huh.
announcers.
Yeah.
I love anyone who talks for a living.
Wow.
And I was really into that.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I found out that DJs, a lot of people think DJs like the music they play.
Yes, yes.
They don't listen to the music they play.
Yeah.
You're hired to introduce it and play it.
Yeah.
So
I
if
mean,
it's not on
exactly.
a Jewish guy working at a gospel station. If he's a
Yeah.
good enough announcer, is going to pull it off. But I didn't. I actually, what happened was I didn't work at that station because it was less
Yeah.
announcing and more. How does it work? This happens a lot in radio. You get a DJ gets hired not because he's any good or that he plays.
Yeah.
No one cares what music you play at a radio
Right,
station.
right.
They actually have a playlist. A lot of them are getting. A lot of times the station's getting paid to play certain songs.
Right.
So they say they're not, but they
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
and then what happens is they so then you say, okay, we're hiring you, Kaye Lazar, and what you're going to do is we want you to scrounge around and get advertising for this station.
Yeah.
So wait, I thought you had a whole other department that does that. Yeah, you're the department, and if you're going to make
Yeah.
it rain around here
Yeah. Yeah.
and keep us all in heat and food,
Yeah.
then you then you're allowed to talk on the radio.
Right.
A friend of
Right.
mine got was phased out of WRVA,
Yeah.
and she told me that by the end they didn't want any of their old DJs announcing
Oh
anymore. They
wow.
just wanted the people in New York or Miami or
Mm.
Chicago or something that was on the air, and you were just there just to push buttons and make it
Oh
happen.
no.
And that, what
That
fun
was
is
no
that?
fun. I know. I'd rather just talk on the station myself.
Yeah, well, that's why, and that is why no one cares about radio, and
Yeah.
that is why people love the internet so much, and
Right.
that is why,
Right.
and the rate and is all this music,
Yeah.
lot of
I mean.
the internet is almost like American Idol. Singers that never got a chance are now getting the chance
Yeah.
to make it. I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
people that have become big hits, bands and singers and
Yeah.
big hits in like Europe,
Yeah. Yeah.
South America,
Yeah.
and they
Exactly.
said I can't get the police won't even give me a parking ticket here. Here I'm a big
Oh. Okay.
here I walk into a tavern in Germany,
Oh yeah.
a,
Yeah.
a beer house, and
Yeah.
I'm a big hit.
Yeah.
And here I'm working for minimum wage at the
Right.
McDonald's.
Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, I and so I love that WLE documentary is very good.
Yes,
A
it
friend of
is.
mine, Randy Scott, who I knew in the day as
Oh
a
yeah.
DJ,
Uh huh.
and then he became a personal friend of mine, and
Yeah.
then he directed a documentary about his time there,
Uh
and had
huh.
a lot of people like your friend and a lot of my friends were in it.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
old DJs were in it, and there was only missing one major thing, me,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
And
I would
me
have,
too. And me too. Because I would
yeah.
have spoken about it.
I could have, yeah. Well, I have a feeling that everyone was speaking. Everyone
Yeah.
had
I
something
mean,
good to
I
say
would have
about it.
loved to speak for a radio station.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
you want to know? You want to know my first encounter with WLE was when I was a kid.
Uh,
You're gonna love this story.
yeah.
I mean, you don't have. It's every radio station.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not just this
Yeah.
particular one. The engineer. There was a department store right across from this radio station. WLE it was,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was a department store that had a photocopy machine that you paid like
Oh.
10 cents to
Okay.
make photocopies
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
So this guy, my sister, little sister, she must have been 8 years old.
Oh.
She got a conversation with this guy and says, Kevin, you got to meet this guy. I said, oh, who's this guy? Old guy. Didn't look like anything
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
impressive. He goes, I'm the chief engineer across the street at WLEE.
Oh.
And he goes, oh, so I started, oh, I got to know. And I started to ask him questions about stuff. And he says, and what are you making copies of? And listen to this. He says, I'm making copies of the playlist, all the songs we're going to play in the next 3 or 4 hours. Now, if you remember radio stations, they
Yeah.
used to always say the request lines are open, and then you call and ask for a song, and then they play it. Okay.
Yeah.
He said, uh, don't waste your time requesting songs on the radio.
Yeah.
We already have the songs written. And I said, really?
Okay.
He says, yeah, but a lot of people don't ask for old songs. They only ask for new songs. So these top 10 songs that are on this list that we play probably every hour or two,
Yeah.
they have already been requested probably about 20 times each.
Right.
So people call and ask for the new,
Yeah.
Tony Orlando and Dawn song or
Right.
Partridge Family song.
Yeah.
They thought, oh, good, they're playing my song. It's like
Yeah.
10 minutes later, they play the song. Oh, see how important man I am?
Yeah.
And I
Well.
call them up and they play it. No, you and 20 other people have already asked, and then, of course,
Right. Right.
maybe 2 or 3 years later, you
Yeah.
ask for that same
Yeah.
song and they won't play it at
Well,
all.
they usually play the same songs mostly anyway sometimes.
Well, that's it. In fact,
Like
and
Q94 used to do all
Ricky Skaggs, the country singer,
that.
said he
Yeah.
tried to make it in rock and roll, and then he became a
Yeah.
country singer.
Uh-huh.
He said that he found out that radio stations were. He said there's a top 40. He says really, it's not really top 40. It's really the radio stations only play the top 20,
Oh
and
yeah.
sometimes they only play the top 15.
Uh,
There was this station in California
Mhm.
that had no DJs. It was the top radio station in California, and I think you go on the Pacific Coast Highway through some town or something on the
Right.
way from like
Yeah.
Los Angeles to San Francisco. I don't know what the name of the town. I don't remember the name of the station, but it
Yeah.
was the top station in California. And what it did was, when you were driving through it, you would get it on your car radio very
Wow.
easily.
Wow.
Almost all radio is car.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh, the best time to be on the radio,
Right.
sell the most ads and everything, is in the morning and in the evening when people are driving home or to
Right.
work. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
The rest of the time, no one's. When Rush Limbaugh said he was a top rated guy on the radio from 12 to 3, no one was listening to the radio. Of course, he was top rated. No, there
Yeah.
was no other competition from 12. If he was on in the morning with against Howard Stern and all those others, he would lose a big way. But
Yeah.
anyway, so this station, getting back to this station, you would only. It was weird how it worked. They played almost all 15 songs that were
Wow.
pop, or 10 songs that were popular,
Wow.
in the amount of time it took to drive through this area, and the signal was only in this area.
Yeah.
So they would play. In other words, you only had this station when you were driving on the Pacific Coast Highway for like an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and you heard all the songs and the advertising they wanted. And as
Right.
soon as you couldn't hear it anymore, you were out of range and
Right.
everything. And that
Yes.
and I thought that was fascinating how
Yeah.
they could actually
Wow.
do the demographics
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
way.
Just like when you travel to North Carolina, places like that, when you go to the beach,
Yeah,
the station changes as you travel along.
yeah, you can't just, yeah.
So
Oh, they know all of that. They know all of that.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Were you ever on the radio?
No, like,
Did they ever say, and now we have a woman in the street here, and what is your opinion on paper
well,
bags?
I've always wanted to do that, but
Yeah,
I've never been asked to do it.
yeah.
So, but I would like to volunteer at a radio station one day in downtown Richmond.
A lot of stations are,
I think it was some kind of college
maybe an
radio.
intern. College radio is all
Yeah,
volunteer. That's how I got my start,
yeah.
college
I'll
radio.
probably do that, probably, maybe in the future.
The important thing when you get on the radio is start talking.
Yes, start talking.
So, are you ever at a loss for words?
Oh no, I talk about anything.
Well,
So
I'm at a loss for words. I think
yeah,
we should take a break.
yeah. Okay, yes. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and we're gonna take a little break. Then we'll be back in a few minutes.
Part
Take
two.
care. God bless you.